Guys, RFK Jr. just shared something really shocking, really interesting about his father and his mother whenever they were out in Russia. Apparently, they had some ties with the CIA, which is very, very interesting. He also just unloaded some of his tea regarding Senator Bill Cassidy, which I have been longing him to talk about ever since he announced what happened with ACI. So this is really, really interesting stuff, and I'm excited to talk about it. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Also, guys, if you like having conversations like this, if you think they matter, please consider liking and subscribing. Please, it really, really does make a difference. All right, check.
You want to comment at all on the release from the CIA of, I believe it's 45 new documents with regard to the assassination of your father, Robert F. Kennedy?
No, I mean, I'm grateful for President Trump for having absolute transparency, for releasing everything that they've had in their possession for year after year after year. One of the interesting things, Martha, that I didn't know is that my father, during his trip to the Soviet Union in 1955, when he was a Senate aide, that he had been reporting back to the CIA. My mother was on that trip. She joined him in St. Petersburg, and she actually was working for the CIA at that time, and she was wearing a carnation in her lapel that was attached to a little bubble where she could take pictures. And for some reason, the CIA wanted to know what artwork they had in St. Petersburg. The Russians, when they beat Germany, the Germans had confiscated all this artwork from some of the Jewish families.
They were trying to track it down.
And the Russians had then brought those back to St. Petersburg, and they were interested in that. So I don't think it was anything of grave national security interest, but it was, it's an interesting fact that I didn't know about my dad.
We'll see what else it reserves.
Isn't that so sweet? Like, he didn't know this about his dad, and he's so grateful for it. Right? Isn't this amazing? This is the type of stuff that I love to hear. Also, one of the top comments here says, it's fitting that RFK Jr. recognizes Trump's role in piercing that veil of secrecy. The truth about what happened to his father might finally come out after 60 years of stonewalling. Also, guys, like earlier today, I was looking everywhere for this entire interview, and I really couldn't find it. But thank goodness for End Tribalism for sharing it. I already shared some of these clips on my last video that I already shared today. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely do that if you want to see more of these clips. But yeah, definitely grateful for End Tribalism for sharing that. I think it is great. But RFK Jr. is such a class act, really, because in the beginning of this story, whenever Martha asked him, like what do you think about all this? He immediately moved to gratitude. All right. He didn't start with a story. He first started with gratitude for President Trump. All right. And I just love that so much. I love the character in that. I think that is just amazing. But here is RFK Jr. also talking about Bill Cassidy. As you guys know, there has been some heat brewing between these guys. So to see RFK Jr. finally talk about it, it's pretty great. Check it out.
And you had posted the criticism of my choice by Senator Cassidy, and a claim that I had promised Senator Cassidy not to change the vaccine panels. That's not true. What I told Senator Cassidy is that I would allow him to put one of his candidates on, which we're going to do.
All right, check that out. The class act of this man, again, not throwing any shade at Bill Cassidy, and also just reassuring everyone that he is a man of his word. And if you're living under a rock and you don't know what's going on, guys, over the past couple of days, MSNBC, all these other networks, they're all saying that Bill Cassidy is just getting screwed over by RFK Jr. because he was supposed to have a say in what's been going down with ACIP. But RFK Jr. obviously kind of stripped and retired all those people because he's actually trying to make some way. He's actually trying to make some impact, and it's almost impossible to do whenever you have both your arms tied behind your back. All right. So the controversy is that RFK Jr. kind of screwed over Bill Cassidy because he didn't give him a say. So to see RFK Jr. pretty much stand on his business right now to say, no, Bill Cassidy is actually going to have a voice here. He's going to have a say in some All right. Is that not amazing? So some like look at this headline from MSNBC. It is Bill Cassidy extracted a promise from RFK Jr. Now he sees what that promise is worth. All right, this is just one example, but they're all like this. I listened to an episode of NPR yesterday talking about, like how he just got totally screwed over, and it's like, did he? Not so sure about that. Also, we have some breaking news literally as I'm filming this. Check it out. So it's from Benny Johnson. Israel has launched a preemptive strike on Iran. Massive explosions are being reported in Tehran. Israel has declared a state of emergency. There is this video here. Holy smokes. Wow. This is insane. We also have this from the IDF. The IDF launched a preemptive, precise, combined offensive to strike Iran's nuclear program. Dozens of IAF jets completed their first stage that included strikes on dozens of military targets, including nuclear targets in different areas of Iran. Today, Iran is closer than ever to obtaining a nuclear weapon. Weapons of mass destruction in the hands of the Iranian regime are an existential threat to the state of Israel and to the wider world. The state of Israel has no choice but to fulfill the obligation to act in defense of its citizens and will continue to do so everywhere it is required to do so, as we have done in the past. This is a really big deal, and the White House really wants nothing to do with it. All right, this is shared by Secretary State Marco Rubio, and also a lot of people really like what the White House is saying right now. So check this out. This is his statement. Tonight, Israel took unilateral action against Iran. We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. Israel advised us that they believed that this action was necessary for its self-defense. President Trump and the administration have taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear. Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel. Wow. This is heating up. Jeez. Also, more news for the people who are out in California. Text Gavin Newsom just shared this. The courts have ruled the guard will be back under my command, and Donald Trump will be relieved of his command at noon tomorrow. All right. You can see this right here from NPR. Judge issues a temporary ruling against the Trump using the National Guard in LA. All right. I'll read this first paragraph for you guys. A federal judge has ruled against President Trump's use of the National Guard in Los Angeles, siding with the state of California's argument that the president erred in how the guard was being activated. The order requires Trump to return control of the National Guard to California Governor Gavin Newsom by noon on Friday. Wow. All right. So a lot is happening, a lot's in the air, and I'm sorry we jumped everywhere, but all that stuff just happened right now as I was recording. So from Robert F. Kennedy Jr., learning about his, a little bit more about his father, a little bit more about his mother, to some crazy things happening with Israel and between Iran. All right. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section. All right. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Like I say all the time, we love a 360-degree perspective here. So whatever you're thinking, whatever your thoughts are in this matter, if you're trying to engage in a meaningful conversation, feel free to use the comment section. All right. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? How do you see the present? What future are you imagining? Let me know in the comment section. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me. I'm so grateful for you to share your time with me. And if you want to be part of the future conversation, please consider liking and subscribing. And why not turn on the notification bell? All right. It really, really does mean the world to me. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Episode's over already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.